Good to go.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome staff and council and the public who may be listening to this April 1st special meeting of council. I'd like to welcome everyone today and call to order Toronto Town Council's first council meeting by teleconference. So a lot has gone on over the past few weeks, and I felt it necessary to call a special meeting of council to take care of some pending business and to look towards our plan moving forward. First off, I'd like to begin by taking a moment to thank our town staff for helping our community get prepared to handle our current situation. I've been working very closely with the CAO and can tell you that everyone has done a great job rolling with the punches and getting the job done as we settled into our new environment. Our goal was to act responsibly, communicate effectively, and make the best decisions that we could for our community as the situation around us changed quickly. We will continue to take this approach and we will act diligently on behalf of our community. So thank you for everyone for doing their part. It was very much appreciated. Before we start the meeting, I'd like to do a roll call starting in alphabetical order. So when your name is called, can you please say present? Councillor Clark?
Present.
Deputy Mayor Everhardis?
Present.
Councillor Hudson?
Present.
Councillor Smith?
Present.
Okay, and from the staff, I'd like to, Deputy Clerk Gail Miracle on?
Present.
And CAO Christine Martin?
Present.
As we move forward with the meeting, I'd like to lay out a few ground rules. Since I can't see everybody and it's very all, I'd like to keep, and this will help keep the meeting going forward. So I will call the meeting to order, and I'll start by I'd like to take a roll call, which I did. Okay, so when dealing with correspondence, first I'll read the agenda item and we'll be discussing, and then I'll ask what council's wishes is. It may be a motion which has a specific action included, or simply a motion for discussion purposes. So please note, a motion must be made to get the item on the table, and please speak clearly, and please use last name. Once the first and second is heard, I'll ask if anyone is opposed, and if hearing nothing, I will say carried. Once or if the conversation begins, the council member who forwards the motion will have the first opportunity to speak. And then the member who seconds the motion would then have the opportunity to speak. And then if anybody else wishes to speak, I will call them out in alphabetical order. Once I feel that the member is done speaking, I will ask if they've concluded their point, and then I will call for if there are any opposed. If there's no questions raised pertaining to the motion, then I will ask if anyone's opposed, and we'll proceed to the next piece of correspondence. I would also ask that any questions to staff be tabled through the chair, and I will direct questions on behalf of our council. Are there any questions?
Not at this time.
No, not at this time.
I'd like to start out by calling for an adoption of the agenda. May I have a first and seconder, please?
Everhardis move.
May I have a seconder, please?
I would second that, Chair.
So I have a first by Deputy Mayor Everhardis, seconded by Councillor Clark. All in favor?
Yes.
Carried.
Yeah.
Any disclosure of interest today?
None.
None for me.
None noted. First off, what we need to do is we need to read a bylaw 19-20 to amend our procedural bylaw 35-19 to include the provisions for electronic participation. May I ask the Deputy Mayor to please read that bylaw?
Thank you. A bylaw 19-20 to amend the procedural bylaw 35-19 to include provisions for electronic participation for council. And I move that bylaw be read a first, second, and third time and be adopted April 1st, 2020.
May I have a seconder, please?
Councillor
Councillor
Hudson.
Smith.
Okay, so I heard Councillor Hudson as the second. Any opposition? If not, carried. Thank you. So we're going to move on to correspondence 5.1. We have the report from the CAO. We're going to take each piece of correspondence individually because they all have action items within. So I'm going to read the first piece of correspondence. First piece of correspondence is 8.18, staffing. So we have two issues on the table right now with respect to staffing. Everyone sees the recommendations, everyone has the agenda in front of them right now. So let's start off by looking at the first one, crossing guards, transit drivers. Right now we have a motion on the table to continue with keeping them on until April 6th. What's council's wishes?
Everhardis,
Yes?
I move that we extend the staffing until the end of April.
I have a mover. May I have a seconder, please, for that motion?
Councillor Smith?
So I have a first by Deputy Mayor Everhardis, a second by Councillor Smith. Any opposition?
None.
All in favor? Carried. We have next piece of correspondence. We have the Parks position, which is only good until April 15th. I'm looking to see what council's wishes is with respect to an extension.
Everhardis, I move that we extend that position to the usual date in the fall, which I believe is the 1st of December.
I've got a mover with a motion saying extend until the 1st of December. Do I have a seconder?
Councillor Hudson.
So I have a mover and Deputy Mayor Everhardis, seconded by Councillor Hudson. Any opposition?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, could you just explain, like, the 1st of December, what, if you can explain that to me? I'm a little bit confused.
Sure. What I'm going to do is I'm going to defer to the mover to start the conversation. Thank you, Councillor Clark. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to just say to Councillor Clark through you that due to the fact that we need an additional person in Parks and Public Works due to staff issues right now with the number of staff we have, this would be the easiest way to get ourselves through the summer without having to advertise, hire, and expose people through training and all that sort of thing to close contact.
Okay, I apologize to council. Thank you, Deputy. I know what you're talking about now. I have no problem with that. I think, well, at the next council meeting, I'll probably bring it up. I think we should look at maybe going full time for that employee, but I'll agree with council on this occasion.
Thank you. So I have a mover and I received a seconder, did I, with Councillor Hudson?
Yep.
Have I not? Yeah, I said yes, I did. Any opposition? All in favor? Carried. Next piece of correspondence is wondering if we should be advertising for summer students at this point in time. What is council's wishes?
Well, many departments, Your Honour, would be wanting summer students. I heard on the news, I think it was yesterday, that they're thinking this virus is going to be here for another 6 months. So what would they be doing if we did hire summer students?
I'm going to ask the CAO to comment. I did speak with the CAO with respect to whether or not we had any needs within our municipality. At this point in time, there was none identified. Christine, do you wish to comment, or have I pretty much summed it up?
Well, all I can say, yes, there's so many unknowns. So, you know, it's not as if I can do interviews right now. Well, I suppose I could do them on Skype or something, but we can't. The office is closed. Our summer student is the one in the office and one in Parks, and really we're supposed to be limiting contact. And I'm not sure we'd get any applications anyway.
I don't know if I can make a motion at this time, Your Honour, but I would move that until this virus situation is over, we don't hire any summer students.
I'll take your motion, Councillor Clark. May I have a seconder for that?
Councillor Smith.
Seconded by Councillor Smith. I have a mover and a seconder. Any opposition?
None.
All in favor? Carried.
Carried.
Next piece of correspondence is billing and collections. We have a couple of recommendations set out there by staff. I'm going to throw it on the table. What is council's wishes?
Everhardis, I move to discuss.
May I have a seconder for that motion, please?
For discussion, Councillor Hudson.
So I got a mover and a seconder. It's on the table.
Everhardis, may I speak?
Yep.
Thank you, Mayor. Many municipalities across the province are deferring payments of bills and tax bills specifically. I know the province has deferred for municipalities the contribution for school boards, and Hastings County has deferred the payments we make for them on behalf of them. I think it's in good conscience that we follow suit and that we discuss deferring taxes and the penalties, as well as the penalties on water and sewer for the foreseeable couple of months. Thank you.
Hudson, do you have any discussion as the seconder?
Are we getting any, trying to think of the right words, are we getting any financial comeback from the government with regards to our bills, or is it just kind of like a leisure measure that we're putting in place for our community members?
I believe currently we are receiving some deferred opportunities from both the county and from the provincial government, but again, I'm going to have to defer to the CAO for comment on that. Christine?
Yes, the county made a motion to defer their, normally we pay the county their contribution of the taxes we collect on March 31st. They've deferred it to the end of April. And the school board has deferred the June payment to, I'm not exactly sure, but a later date. So we in here, you know, listening to how long this is going to last and the potential for it to be at least till the end of June when people are getting back to work and so on and so forth, that at the very least, if we waive penalty, then if people can't afford to pay, they won't be dinged the penalty until July 1st. If they can't afford to make the payments on both water, sewer, and taxes. It's not that we're not going to bill them, it's just we're not going to calculate the penalty. So if they don't pay, they're not penalized.
Okay.
Is the recommendation.
Councilor Hudson, did that answer your question?
Absolutely.
Councilor Clark, do you have any questions with respect to the motion on hand?
No, I don't believe so. It's not a case, just to clear my own mind, it's not a case that any of those bills won't be paid in the future, but it's just to defer and not charge interest and etc. On the people. Is that the correct understanding?
Yes.
That is correct.
Then I got no problem with that.
Perfect. Any further comments from anybody at the table? All in favor?
Yep.
Carried.
Your Worship, if I might, I don't think there was a motion on the table.
Oh, sorry.
But I will put one on there. I move that the town will waive penalties for water and sewer bills and property taxes until June 30th, 2020.
That's a motion. Councilor Hudson, do you second that motion?
Agreed.
Any opposition to the motion on the table? All in favor? Carried.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Council. Next item of business is bag tags. Currently, we have the one bag tag on, and we have to look at extending that. I would ask Council if maybe possibly we could open that up to a little bit more than one bag tag. The goal right now is to keep people distant from other people. So if we can limit their exposure to having to get out and purchase a bag tag, it might be good right now over the next few weeks. I'm going to throw that out to Council, see what they have to say.
I would make a motion that we allow bike tags, or we don't charge for bike tags until at least the end of May.
So, Councilor Clark, are you saying absolutely it doesn't matter how many bags of garbage, or should we be looking at putting, like, say, a limit of, say, 2 or 3 bags?
Oh, I would put a limit on it too, otherwise we're going to have several bike tags, but I would do a limit of 2.
So 2 bags per household?
Yes.
So that's the motion on the table. May I have a seconder, please?
Ever heard a second?
Thank you very much. Any opposition?
No.
None noted? Carried. Next piece of correspondence is cleanup day. So as we know, we're looking at having Desert Island cleanup day. And the question is, should we defer or cancel cleanup day? What is council's wishes?
Ever heard a second motion?
So ever heard it on the table?
I move that Desert Council defer cleanup day until after the COVID pandemic is under control.
I heard a seconder in Hudson at the beginning. Is that true, Councilor Hudson?
Agreed. I was going to agree with the idea of deferring the day. I think it's something that people will look forward to at the end of all of this craziness.
Okay, so we have a first and a seconder to defer the cleanup day. Any opposition? Hearing none? Carried. Next piece of business is the boat launch. As we see in front of us on the agenda, Public Works is intending to put the dock in, as it is it's the most opportune time to do it because the water levels are up. However, my suggestion would be if we do install the boat launch that we cordon that whole area off, because right now we want to limit exposure to our community and not have people come through. I'm going to throw that over to council and see what their wishes are.
Ever heard this motion?
Thank you.
That we direct public staff to install the boat launch, but we close it during the state of emergency.
I would second that motion, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. I have a mover and a seconder. Any opposition?
None.
Hearing none? Carried. Thank you very much. Municipal buildings. So as we know, we have made a motion to close municipal buildings until April 6th. We obviously have to change that. What is council's wishes?
Councilor Hudson?
Yes?
I think that we follow the governmental guidelines, and they've continued for another 2 weeks. I think we should follow that policy.
Thank you. I'll throw that on the table. Do I have a seconder for that?
Ever heard a second? Is it a question?
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Through you, Mayor, Councillor Hudson, do we mean this end of the state of emergency in the province or 2 weeks?
My preference would be that we follow pace with the Ontario government. We follow their lead. So if they've extended it 2 weeks, we'll go 2 weeks. If they come out and extend it again for another 2 weeks, we follow their lead. So my hope is that council will pass a motion today that says that we follow the government's lead, however they may go.
Thank you. I just needed that clarification.
Was that your intent, Councilor Hudson?
That would be my motion for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Deputy Mayor, you back that motion as a seconder?
Absolutely.
Any opposition? Hearing none at the table? Carried. Thank you. Next piece of correspondence is 8.1G. Transit. Everyone sees in front of us a report
Excuse me.
written by the transit coordinator. I'm going to throw that out to council to begin the conversation.
Ever heard us? I move that we discuss.
Seconder to discuss?
I would move that.
On the table. Deputy Mayor, you're up.
Thank you. I would like to thank the transit manager for her report. Right now, many municipalities are experiencing a downturn in transit use. Last night, Global News Kingston reported that transit on Sunday was down from 24,000 people to under 1,000 riders. Cities such as Windsor have closed their transit programming, and I think to prevent the continuance of COVID spread, I would support the manager
Has joined.
and close the transit program until the state of emergency is dealt with and a plan is put in place.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Park?
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused about this because at the last council meeting, and correct me if I'm wrong, at the last council meeting, I thought council passed a motion that transit would close down, and I don't really know why this is back up on the table again.
I believe, Councillor, I think that it was closed down just temporarily, and I think what we're being asked to do right now is to either extend or open back up. I believe that's the intent. So I believe that that's what we're voting on today, is whether or not we're going to be extending the closure of transit to follow pace with the state of emergency.
And just to ask the deputy through you, Mr. Chair, Deputy, could you just state your opinion again?
Thank you, Councillor Clark. My opinion is we need to continue to treat all our services similarly. With transit's need across the province in some areas dropping, I think we need to also, during the state of emergency, we continue what we've been doing by closing it down during the state of emergency.
Thank you very much. I have no opposition to that.
I would continue to ask the transit to continue on with their back to work plan of finding out what it's going to look like. Once we do lift the state of emergency, make sure that we do have plans in place for a return to work. I agree with everything that's being said today at the table. So I have a mover in the deputy. I have a seconder in Councillor Clark. Any further discussion by anybody at the council table?
No.
Hearing no opposition? Carried. Next, we have a variety of different bylaws. Traditionally, the deputy mayor reads bylaws.
Your Honor, could I just ask you a question?
Yes.
I don't know if I've made a mistake or not, but if we could go back to the bag tags, did I make a motion till the end of May?
I'll have to ask the deputy clerk to reiterate the motion, please.
There's a motion for no tags put on bags for 2 per household until the end of May.
Yeah, I meant the end of April, but I'm not opposed if council want to go to the end of May.
I personally am comfortable till the end of May with that one, Councillor Clark.
Then I would leave my motion stand.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Gail, for the clarity.
You're welcome.
Next, we have the bylaws and policies. We have a number of bylaws that need to be read. Traditionally, the deputy mayor does this for us. Deputy, would you continue?
Thank you, Mayor. Bylaw number 2020, being a bylaw to delegate certain powers and duties under the Municipal Act 2001, Statutes of Ontario 2001, Section 25, for the period beginning April 1st, 2020 to the date when the provincial government ends the state of emergency in Ontario related to the COVID-19 virus. And I move that bylaw be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this first day of April 2020.
May I have a seconder, please?
I second that, April.
So I have a seconder in Councillor Clark. I have a mover in the deputy mayor. Any opposition? Hearing none? Carried. The next bylaw, please, 6.2.
Bylaw 2120, being a bylaw to enter into a mutual aid and assistance agreement for an Ontario Water Wastewater Agency Response Network. Onward. And I move that this bylaw be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed on this first day of April 2020.
May I please have a seconder?
Councillor Hudson.
I have a seconder in Councillor Hudson, moved by the deputy. Any opposition?
None.
Hearing none? Carried. Next piece of correspondence, 6.3.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm just scrolling down here. Bylaw 2220, being a bylaw to adopt pandemic policy for department protocols. Be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this first day of April 2020.
I would second that, Your Honor.
Thank you. Moved by the deputy, seconded by Councillor Clark. Any opposition? Hearing none, carried. And 6.4?
Thank you. Bylaw number 2320, being a bylaw to adopt COVID-19 pandemic policy to support staff. Be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed its first day of April 2020.
May I please have a seconder?
Councillor Hudson?
Moved by the deputy, seconded by Councillor Hudson. Any opposition?
None?
None noted, carried. 6.5?
Bylaw number 2420, being a bylaw to adopt a working from home policy during any emergency or pandemic. And I move that this bylaw be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this first day of April 2020.
May I please have a seconder?
I would second that, Your Honor.
Moved by the deputy, seconded by Councillor Clark. Any opposition?
None?
Hearing none, carried. 7.1, bylaw to confer the proceedings of council.
Bylaw number 2520, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council meeting held on the first day of April 2020. I move that this bylaw be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed on this first day of April 2020.
May I please have a seconder?
Councillor Hudson?
Moved by Deputy Everhart, seconded by Councillor Hudson. Any opposition? Hearing none, carried. Before I call for a motion of adjournment, I just want to take a moment here and thank everybody for bearing with me, as this was definitely not the easiest to do this table meeting without being able to see everybody raise their hands. But thank you very much. Thanks to the CAO for putting this together. Thank you to the Deputy Clerk for taking the minutes for this meeting. And I'm just going to go around the table. I'm going to start alphabetical order. Councillor Clark, do you have any last comments?
All I have to say is to thank you, Your Honor, and thank members of council, and especially thank our staff for all they're doing during this difficult time. And I hope that everybody takes care and looks after themselves until this matter is over with.
Thank you very much. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to acknowledge the wonderful work that our members of our community are doing in practicing diligent and performing their duties in a safe and very, very professional manner over this period of time. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hudson?
I would have to mirror the comments. I think our staff has been doing an incredible job at keeping things running. Again, Dan, I commend you as our mayor for being the face of what's going on in our community. I think you're doing an incredible job. And this has been a first experience for me doing council over the phone, and I think it was a good meeting. So thanks for everybody and what they're doing, and thank you to each and every one of you for how we're moving along.
Thank you, Councillor. And Councillor Smith? Possibly Councillor Smith has dropped off the line. Thank you very much to everyone for participating today, and everyone be safe out there. Our next council meeting will be by teleconference again. It will be regular time, 6:30 on April 8th. So now I'll ask for a motion for adjournment. I've got a mover in Deputy Mayor Everhart, have a seconder in Councillor Hudson. Assuming no opposition, all in favor? Carried. Thanks, everyone. Be safe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye now.